Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. And for those of you that are not in El Paso, good afternoon. Okay, thank you all so much for joining us today. I am really excited to hear today's presentation. As I have shared before, I'm the parent of a teenager on the autism spectrum. And so all of these webinars that we have with Consolidated Planning Group are of such great use for me. And so me personally, okay? But I know that it's great information for all of you too. I'm so excited to have Ms. Michelle with us. I appreciate your time and your expertise in sharing your knowledge with our families. My name is Bonnie Perez Ramirez, and I am the director for Partners Resource Network's PEN project. Partners Resource Network is a nonprofit agency that operates the Texas statewide network of parent training and information centers. And we serve parents of children and youth with disabilities ages 0 to 26. We also work with self-advocates, youth self-advocates 14 to 26. Our parent training and information centers are funded by the U.S. Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs. In Texas, we have 4 PTIs. Texas is a huge state, so we do have 4 PTIs. And my project, the PEN project, serves families living in ESC regions 9, 12, and 14 through 19. So that's about 122 counties. PRN's mission is to empower and support our Texas families and individuals impacted by disabilities or special healthcare needs. How can we help? We can help you understand your child's disability, understand your rights and responsibilities under IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. We can help you obtain and evaluate resources and services for your child. And we can help you fully understand how to fully participate as a team member with the professionals that work with your child. And all of the services that we provide are completely free. Okay, and so I will go ahead and hand it over to Ms. Michelle Morris from Consolidated Planning Group so that she can go ahead and fill us with her knowledge. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box, okay? Okay, Absolutely. Go ahead, Ms. Michelle, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. I love your energy and passion. That's one thing that I find with many people who work in this community. You know, we are all passionate about the people that we serve, and that's who we are at Consolidated Planning Group. We are financial planners. We are holistic financial planners, but we are really one of only maybe 100 firms in the entire United States that focuses solely on family, well, okay, not solely, maybe 97% on families with special needs loved ones. We love to educate and advocate, and we are honored to be part of the community. So thank you so much for having us today. Bonnie, thank you everybody for being here who's watching. Hopefully this will be helpful and you can find some bits and nuggets of information that will help you. As with all of our webinars, since we are in webinar mode, I can't see you or hear you except for Bonnie. So if you have questions or comments, I would love for you to put them in the chat box. I've got it open and I'm monitoring. So if I get distracted while I'm talking, that could be why. And I'm going to answer as many of your questions as I possibly can. If I see a question come through in the chat and you think I'm ignoring your question, that just means that I'm about to get to it maybe a little later in what I'm talking about. So please don't be offended by that. We will send you this recording and the slides for this. There's a few things, links towards the end of my presentation. Those will be clickable when we send the slides to you. So don't panic about that. So we do webinars, 2, 3, 4 of them a week sometimes. They're always free. And we aim to educate and to help because we know that you're out there, you're in the thick of it, and there's so much information that you need to know. So today we're going to be talking about transitions and launching your special needs child into adulthood. So when your child turns 18, there's a lot of different things that you need to consider, a lot of different moving parts and things that you need to plan ahead for when they turn 18. So we're going to go through some of those things today. If you haven't done them yet, don't panic. We are not here to say, oh, shame on you. I can't believe you haven't done that yet. We're here to tell you, this is what you need to have on your radar going forward. We're not looking to the past. We're looking forward to make your future brighter and better. So one thing that I really want you to think about as parents is that, your student, your child is a little bit different. And every student, every child has different life skills and strengths and weaknesses and things that they really love to do and excel at, and things that maybe they're not so great at. And we should not be comparing. There's that saying about, if a flower is not thriving in the dirt that it's in, you don't change the flower, you change the dirt, or you change the flower's location. The analogy that I love to use, because I love to eat popcorn, is, when you're making popcorn, you have your pan. I make mine on the stove, not in the microwave. You have your oil, you pour in the kernels, and they start popping, but they don't all pop at the same time, even though they're in the same oil. They're in the same pan, and they are at the same temperature. They don't all pop at the same time. Not all kids pop at the same time. Maybe they're going to be popping a little bit later. That's fine. That's nothing to stress out about. In this day and age of Facebook and, oh, look at what my child is doing, I think comparisons can be daunting, and we don't need to worry about that. So understand what your challenges and strengths are for your child. Maybe a non-traditional path is going to be better for them. 4-year colleges are not for everybody. There's plenty of options out there, and you don't have to stick to what everybody else says that they're doing. Keep an open mind, consider your options. Maybe delaying the driver's license a little bit is a good option for you. Maybe community college or a trade school or even a college experience program would be good for your kiddo. The Texas Workforce Commission Vocational Rehab Program, VR, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but they have a great programming for a great program to help students understand the roadblocks to employment that they face and how can they overcome those things, and what would be a good job for them or a career path for them to follow. There's plenty of registered apprenticeships available. Maybe taking 1 or 2 college courses to just test the waters would be a good thing for your student, just to see how they do and see if that's something they would like to pursue before you pour all of that money into a college education. Maybe living at home and doing commuting to college or even some online classes would be better for your student than moving away to a traditional college campus. There are so many options and so many programs out there. You really will serve yourself well to do some research ahead of time, look into all the different programs and keep an open mind and help your child find the right fit for them. And again, don't compare to other people. Self-esteem is critical in kids, and helping them find what they love. That's what we all want to do. We all have the same goal. So it doesn't really matter how you get there. And if they come to the party late, whatever, that's fine. Everybody is different, and you don't need to worry about that. Put that pressure on yourself or on your child. So some things to help you find a good fit. look at different schools and different colleges, at private schools, state colleges, two-year schools, different programs. There are programs at different schools geared specifically to kids with learning differences and disabilities and things like that. Pardon me, one of my hairs flew in my mouth. Extracurricular activities, help your student find what they love to do. For my older son, it was band. He was a band kid the moment they put an instrument into his hand. And now he is in college studying music in Chicago. For some kids, it's sports. Maybe for me, I was the president of yearbook of the French club and the editor of the yearbook. So there's all kinds of different extracurricular activities, and whatever your child is into could become a great career path for them. Finding out how can we take that thing that they love about whatever they're doing and find a way to make money off of it. So that's a great way to think about what a great career path for your child would be. And then what about, their work setting? Can they do a job where they're going to need to be standing all day, or where they're going to have to be quiet all day? Is that a good fit for your child? Even though they might say, I'm going to do this, if you see that they have challenges to that goal, maybe you can start working on those challenges, or maybe you can find a career path with a work setting that would fit their personalities and their needs a little bit better. You just have to have an open mind. I think that's the word of the phrase of the day is open-mindedness. So let's talk a little bit about accommodations within the schools and within the workplace. So you can get accommodations for things like the SAT and ACT tests, AP exams, even for college courses and graduate level exams. But you must check into those early and be prepared. You're going to have to get in touch with the school or the AP company or SAT, whoever is administering the test. You're going to need to let them know what accommodations are necessary and why do you need those accommodations for your child. Your IEP and things like that do not just automatically follow you to college. You have to get back in touch with them and figure that stuff out. They would like updated testing, 3 to 5 years. We recommend if you can get some updated testing to prove why you need accommodations. Also, a FERPA is a form that the schools will need to release information to you. There's several things that we're going to talk about, but you have to remember that once your child is 18, they are seen as adults, even though they're still your babies. My baby, who is 21 and living in Chicago and studying music, they don't need to contact me, and they don't contact me for anything. They don't want to hear from me. It's not like when they were little and you had meet the teacher night and your teachers wanted to reach out to you if there were any problems in the classroom. That phase is gone. College professors don't want to hear from parents. So you need to have a form on file, the FERPA form, for them to release information to you. Now, when it comes to working in the future, or if they take the path of work instead of college, you have to remember that they are required to provide reasonable accommodations as long as it doesn't make an undue hardship on the employer. I tried to think earlier about what an example of that would be of an undue hardship. And I just can't think of anything. So if you can think of something, feel free to put it in the chat box to illustrate my point here for me. But they are required to make some accommodations and to follow ADA laws and things like that. You can the links here, like I said, when we send you this slide deck, they will be clickable, but you can check out the Department of Labor or the Job Accommodation Network for more information on accommodations that are required in the workplace. I see a question in the chat box when I mentioned updated testing within 3 to 5 years. We're talking about things like IQ and what the disability is and what neurological differences your student may have, psychological testing, things like that, so that you can prove that they still need accommodations. That's what I was talking about. Accommodations for work would be like being late if they have time blindness issues. So reasonable, yes, reasonable, a few minutes late or half an hour. If you're 4 hours late for a 4-hour work shift, that might not work out. But what would we as the parent cover the testing costs for things like for the IQ testing and things like that? There are programs that can help you pay for that. Some of them might be through Bonnie's group, Partners Resource Network. Others might be through the Texas Workforce Commission, testing with your doctor, your things like that through the school, those kind of tests. Okay, I think we're good for now. Next slide. So, like I said, there are a ton of options beyond high school. And if you're thinking, you would like for your child, or if they would like to continue their education and you think that that's the right path for them, there are plenty of good programs out there. Now, through my talk today, you're going to see several lists. And I want you to know, we do not work for any of these people, and they do not work for us. We don't get any perks or bonuses for mentioning them. These are just good programs that we've heard about or that we know are out there that might be a good resource for you. So you need to check into them if you think it might be right for you. So these are different programs that are offered through colleges in Texas. There's the VAST Academy at HCC here in Houston. There's the Non-Periel Institute. There's Aggie Achieve and the PATHS program that A&M have. There's a CASE program through Texas Tech. Sam Houston has some good programs for students with learning differences and disabilities. There's all kinds of different programs. You need to check into them and find out for yourself what will be a great fit. The E4 Texas program at UT is another good one. I've heard some of our clients have students in that program. West Texas A&M in Canyon has a program called Where the Learning Continues, WTLC. So check into your local schools and see what they have available for you. One way to make this less daunting, because there are so many schools, and maybe your child already knows what kind of school they would like to go to, or maybe you're an Aggie family and you already know. But maybe you're newer to Texas and you're not sure, or maybe the different choices out there are just a little overwhelming. You might consider talking with Bloom Consulting. They have a program called Campus Connections. They can help support your student when they're attending the post-secondary institution. They can be either in person or virtual support. They use this process called the Berkman Method Assessment, where they help build a support team for your child. They get a coach, a connections coach. They provide mentoring and guidance and even navigational support. How are you going to manage going to all these classes? How are you going to fit in everything that you need in your schedule? How are you going to stay organized? They help empower students to problem solve, to face their concerns, to be great self-advocates. And make great choices. Now, this program does cost $1,000 a month, and it is private pay. So it is not cheap, but you might want to talk to the Texas Workforce Commission, the VR counselor that you get hooked up with through them, if you go through their program, might be able to help you with sponsorship for the Campus Connections program. So again, their contact information is there. It will also come to you in an email. I'm going to turn off my fan before I get more hair in my mouth. Hold on. I'm at this age where hot flashes are just starting to grab me, so I always have to have a fan running. All right. So how do you get started with special needs planning and thinking about the future for your child? First of all, you need to understand that there's a difference between a special needs planner and a special needs attorney. We work together as a team for your child. We don't work together in terms of we pay them or they pay us or there's anything like that. But a special needs attorney will help you with things like your will, your special needs trust, guardianship, if that is in your future, or maybe just helping you determine if you need guardianship. Maybe partial guardianship is better for you, or just a power of attorney or supported decision making. There's again many options. So an attorney helps you with those things, the legal side and the paperwork side of life for you. A special needs planner helps you with the financial side, the money side of all of these issues. And it's frustrating. All of these steps take money, and we get that. And, it's not always easy finding the funding, but that's where we come in handy, is to help you figure out how you're going to help fund your child's future. So you should work with a special needs planner to help you formulate a plan to be able to fund your child's future, make sure that there's going to be someone to take care of them, especially once you're gone. We do take a look at all of your planning documents, and you should know what you have in order already and what you need and what your plans are for the future. So gather your documents together. Do you already have a 529 plan, which could be a 529C, which is the college savings account, or a 529A, which is an ABLE account, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. What do you have in place? What do you have in savings? What does your 401k have in it? How long has it been since you've looked at these things? I think that a lot of people kind of set it and forget it. They set up that 401k when they start working at that job, and that was 20 years ago, and they just kind of ignore it since then. Well, your needs might have changed and things might have changed since then. So you need to keep an eye on those. You should develop a letter of intent. And what that is kind of like a love letter to your family, a way to put into writing what they need, especially, your loved one with special needs. First of all, start out with the facts. This is, I think, as a former English teacher, I think the best way to start writing this document is start with the facts. What's the name and birth date? Where was your child born? Who are their doctors? What are their diagnoses? What are their medications? And I think that once you get all of that out on paper, other things will start flowing and coming to you. For example, what is their routine? Do they need something specific and accurate at bedtime to help them go to sleep? What makes them have a fantastic day? What tears them apart? What would somebody need to know if you were gone and you were unable to get home to your family and somebody needed to step in, maybe a relative or a friend? Someone needs to step in for you. What do they need to know to be able to take care of your family? Allergies, like I said, routines, what are their likes and dislikes? What do they need to be doing? All of those things. I would write a letter of intent electronically so that I can go back in and edit. But if it's easier for you to just keep a notebook or a binder with this information, that's fine. Because another thing that's very important is that this letter of intent is accessible. If I step in and I don't know your password to get onto your laptop, and that's where your letter of intent is, it doesn't do us any good. So it has to be accessible for whoever might need it too. Keep that in mind. We do have a template at Consolidated Planning Group for a letter of intent. You don't need to have a template. You just need to put pen to paper or words to the keyboard and get going. But if you would like a template, we can help you with that. And you want to, when you're doing special needs planning, you want to think about your vision of how things are going to look for your future and how you hope things are going to look for your child's future. Do you envision that they're going to be independent and live on their own and have a career? Or do you envision that they're going to be living in some kind of a residential care facility? Do you envision that, maybe in the future they will live with a relative or friend? What do you hope for them? We always want people to have their hopes and have a positive outlook, be optimistic, but also plan for the what ifs. We're going to plan for the worst. And then when the worst doesn't happen, then you are that much further ahead in terms of maybe your own retirement or maybe getting ahead on other goals. So plan for the worst, but stay optimistic and hopeful that it's not going to be that bad. The reason that it's important to think about it now and move forward quickly rather than waiting. And I even say this, I know that the audience for today is kind of transition age. So maybe 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, however old your kid is. It's always better to start earlier because there's things that need to be thought of ahead of time. And also because the earlier you think about this stuff, the more impact your thoughts and actions can have on the future. They'll have more time to have more impact. So you plan now and think ahead. How much money really are you going to need to fund your special needs trust to take care of your child once you're gone? The future and funding for your child, we can look at care cost estimates. If what kind of care do you think that they're going to need? Full-time, part-time, maybe just an attendant, or maybe a group home. They all have different costs and different things that you have to look at. We can help you decide, not just what they cost now, but if your child is going to live with you for the next 20 or 30 years while you're here and then go on to a residential facility, how much is that going to cost in 20 or 30 years? And then how much is it going to cost for them to live there for 20 or 30 years or however long they live? So we can help you with estimates on that. I am seeing some comments in the chat box. So this is all interesting, but I have tachycardia just thinking of the future. Is that just me? So I'm freaking you out a little bit. Don't worry. We're all there. Is that what you're saying? We have a will and we just started paying on a lot in the cemetery. So my children don't have that burden, and monthly payments on that help a lot. So that's good that you're thinking about the future, planning things out. It's, we had another webinar about pretty much this same topic yesterday. It was a different speaker. She spoke about transitioning into adulthood kind of as like eating an elephant. It's one bite at a time, one step at a time. You're on the right track just by being here today. And you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to have everything in place all at once. We can help prioritize, and you can look at things and you know what's important and what can wait and what can't. It doesn't have to all happen at the same time. Another thing, so back to my slide, when you're planning for the future, you want to think about how you can maximize the Social Security benefits for your whole family. And I'm not just talking about SSI for your disabled child, but when you are in your late 60s and you turn on your Social Security benefits and your spouse, if you have one, turns on their Social Security benefits, there are benefits that will be enabled for your child too. There's even a child in care benefit. So if my husband turns on his benefits when he's 68 or 69, and I'm at home taking care of our disabled child, I can get a child in care benefit paid to me, and our child could get a disabled adult child benefit paid to them. So there's a lot happening with Social Security beyond SSI, but when you're in the future and turn on those benefits. So you need to know how to maximize those. What happens to my child when I'm gone? Of course, I know that this keeps all of us awake at night. What are we going to do? So you need to plan for that and think about it. Tour facilities and find out where you would like your child to live and how that's all going to work, and start planning now for how that could be paid for in the future. And some look at how will that be paid for in the future? Michelle, come on, that's going to cost millions. How am I even going to do that? Well, first of all, it's very important that you preserve eligibility for any state and federal funding that your child could get. So I'm talking about SSI benefits, Social Security benefits, waiver programs, things like that. You want to make sure that you are eligible for those programs. And there are tips and tricks and things that you need to know. For example, if your child has more than $2,000 in their name, they will not qualify for SSI. So how do you do that? How do you save money for your child but don't have it in their name? Well, a special needs trust is one way. You can have a special needs trust set up either in your will so that it is established when you pass away, and maybe like your life insurance automatically goes to that when you pass away, or you could have it separate from your will to like where you want to open it now because maybe you have a large sum of money that you need to put in there for your child, or maybe an inheritance from an older relative or something like that. That's one place. A special needs trust is one place where you can have money for your child that won't affect their benefits. And like I said, your life insurance, your assets can go into that trust to help fund your child. There's also an ABLE account. You can have an ABLE account for your child that will not affect their SSI benefits. I know I always get a lot of questions about this, about the ABLE account. I got your back, don't worry. So like I said before, there's the 529C for college, C for college savings account. Anyone can have that. 529A it's under the same tax code. 529A for ABLE account is for anybody with special needs if the special needs began, the disability began prior to age 26, I think. It's 26 or 22, but as long as it started as a child, you're good. So it's the same tax code and the same kind of tax shelter. You can save money and grow the money tax-free. So with your ABLE account, though, there are special rules. You cannot contribute more than $16,000 a year unless your child is working. They can put in more if they're working. Oh, and there it is, age 26. Thank you to my previous self for putting that on my slide. Anyway, also with your ABLE account, you do not want to have that ABLE account go above $100,000, because when the Social Security Administration sees that, they say, oh, you have plenty of money. You don't need SSI benefits. So you don't want your ABLE account to go above $100,000. Okay, you can use it to pay for anything that is going to enhance the life of a special needs person, your special needs child. And there are ABLE accounts, many different ones throughout the country. States have set up different ABLE accounts. Private companies have set up ABLE accounts. They're not all created equally. Some of them are really easy to access your money, and they do a good job with investing your money to help it grow over the years. And some of the ABLE accounts are more difficult and more cumbersome to get into or to get your money out of, or they're not doing a great job investing. So you want to do your research on those as well to find a great one. Don't just automatically assume that, oh, I have to go with whatever state I live in. That's not how it works. You can have an ABLE account from anywhere, okay? What else? The beneficiary is the account owner on an ABLE account. So if you're, I'll use my son's name, for example. My younger son is Evan. Evan Morris is the account owner. Anyone can put money in for Evan. I can, my husband, my parents, my in-laws, my aunts and uncles, anyone can put money into the ABLE account for Evan, and he is the owner of that account. The earned income in that account, because it is invested, but that income is not taxable. Contributions aren't deductible, unfortunately for us, me and my mom and aunts and uncles and anyone who wants to put money in there. But, some states might be able to help you out with that. It's not federally available. And also, since here in Texas, we don't even have income tax, you can't deduct it from your income tax. It doesn't jeopardize your SSI benefits or Medicaid unless, like I said, if you have more than 100,000 total, that's bad. And there are those contribution limits to it, that you cannot put in more than $16,000 a year unless your child is working. Okay, so if you have questions about that, do some research, check that out. We can help you if you want to chat about it. So there are reasons why you might want to have the ABLE account and the Special Needs Trust. Specifically, the Special Needs Trust, like I said, is for large amounts of money. If you have your life insurance, that's generally over $16,000. So your life insurance you would want that to go to the Special Needs Trust rather than the ABLE account. The Special Needs Trust, again, they can have money there. It will preserve their benefit eligibility and provide resources for your child. So it's a really good way. You could have a trustee set up. It could be through the bank, or it can be, someone you trust. You do have to have an attorney help you set up your Special Needs Trust. Guardianship is something else you might be thinking about. Guardianship, you can apply for that and get the process started when you are within 6 months of your child's 18th birthday. And it does take time, and you do want to talk to a qualified attorney to help you with these things and help you prepare the documents. One thing that they will tell you is that kind of the rule for guardianship is that the state, the attorney, and you want to go with the least restrictive option. So if they're looking at your child and your child's abilities and they say, well, they don't really need full guardianship. Let's look at something, let's look at partial guardianship. Let's look at power of attorneys and things like that, and supported decision-making maybe. So they want you to choose the least restrictive option. So when the beneficiary passes, and yes, this is one thing I forgot to mention about the ABLE account. Let me read this question out to you, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. When the beneficiary passes, federal law takes any remaining amount in the account to pay for Medicaid benefits, which were paid for the beneficiary previously. So with your ABLE account, yes, there is a Medicaid drawback clause where when the beneficiary, when your child passes away, they can take back what is left in that account. So because of that, sometimes people like to play the game a little bit with their ABLE account and make sure that all that money gets used up. You know, there is a fee, you know, for the administration of an ABLE account. Every one of them has them. And you can research ABLE accounts yourself, or you can contact my company. We can help sign you up for one. Every state, almost every state, let me just say almost every state has one. And there are also private companies that have ABLE accounts. And you can open an ABLE account anywhere. It does not have to be the Texas ABLE account just because you live in Texas, or you don't have to use the Ohio ABLE account just because you live in Ohio, you know, whatever. So yes, but you do want to make sure that, because Medicaid can pull back some of that money, don't let it go too high. Use the money that's in there and play that game to make sure that, you know, on the other hand, they've given you a lot of benefits throughout the years. So it's, you know, I don't want to use the word fair, but so some additional resources. And like I said, you will get these slides after the webinar is done. So when you get these slides, you'll be able to either click, or some of these links are really long. It might be better if you copy and paste them into your browser. Dude, where's my transition plan? That's kind of a cute title, but it's a good resource for you. The Oregon Transition Handbook, Texas Reality Check is a good resource. You might want to check these out. Again, we're not endorsing any of them. We don't work for them. They don't work for us, but they're good programs that are out there. Before I go into different residential programs, I'm going to take on this question that I just got. Why is an attorney required to establish a special needs trust? Because it has to do with what happens when you pass away. It's a legal manipulation, a legal document that has to be filed. So you need to have an attorney help you set that up to make sure that, you know, it's in your will, it's in your, you know, all of your accounts are set up correctly. And then you have to have all the correct legal wording for your special needs trust. That's just the way it is. I hope that answers your question, Michael. So a good resource, especially if you're here in the Houston area, the Monarch School and Institute. They have a good transitional residential program, a transition services program, and a residential living program. So they are a full, comprehensive, all-inclusive therapeutic program for young adults with neurological differences. They help with achieving success and development and optimizing independence. Their residential living program provides an enhanced, enriched living environment that helps meet their needs and educate them and help them grow while they're there with programs, you know, to help them learn how to take care of themselves and stimulate personal growth and learning and all of that. So it's a good program. There's also Advanced Immersive Transition Program, also in Houston. You can reach out to Michelle Henderson for that. It's through Gateway Academy. So they launched the Advanced Immersive Transition Program for post-high school young adults. who want to be independent and want to experience independence, but you want them to still have guidance and security and be looked out for. Reach Unlimited in Cyprus is a comprehensive, the most comprehensive provider of services for people with IDD in this area. They have a staff of 195 people. They have group homes, home and community-based services, and a center for lifelong learning. Now, I know that these are a lot focused in the Houston area, but we have pages and pages and pages and pages of different residential programs that are available. We have done one residential panel so far where we invited residential programs from all over the state of Texas to present, kind of like in a speed dating format where, come on and tell us who you are, what you do, who your clients are, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go on to the next one. So you can find that one that we've already done on our YouTube channel. We also just a couple weeks ago did a residential webinar where we talked about kind of starting your own group home. And we have a part 2 of the residential panel where we're going to do the speed dating thing again. That's coming in October. So keep an eye on our stuff. And there are so many out there. So don't feel like, oh, she's only telling us about this one small area. There's way more. We just don't have time to go through everything, all of them. There's a nice gap year residential program. Now, this is all the way out in Massachusetts, but it's a cool program, the Dynamite Internship Year. It's not non-therapeutic, but it's a gap year program that offers career exploration through professional internship opportunities. There's apartment living, practical skills, workshops, one-on-one advising and mentoring, and then optional college level courses. The students at Dynamite gain real world and real life experience that will prepare them for college, a career, and beyond. So there's the contact information for that program if you think that's something you might be interested in. Oh, okay. How are we doing on time? Okay, 47 minutes. So things that should be on your planning radar. These are all things that we do webinars on and we educate people on every day. If you have questions or want to chat about any of these topics, I'll tell you before the end of this webinar how to get in touch with us so that you can. But of course, this whole time we've been talking about your special needs care plan. How is that going to be funded? What is the future for your child going to cost? And how can we make sure that that gets paid for? The Texas waivers and interest lists. Now at this audience, your children should be about the age, maybe teenagers or young adults, to where you're already on those interest lists. But if not, that's okay. They're still going to be helpful in the future. We've had successful webinars about those and about how to get on those lists. If you want to chat about it, let me know. SSI and SSDI, there are differences and you need to know when to apply and what forms and paperwork. The maximum amount for SSI right now is $841. So if you have applied for SSI and your child has been approved for SSI benefits and they're not getting $841, you might want to let us know so we can help you get the full amount. We've talked a lot today about ABLE accounts. You can go through any state or a private company and do it yourself, or if you would like us to walk you through the process, we can help you with that. And we can even get you signed up for one that we think is a good option. Beneficiary designations. Again, let me highlight what you need to know about beneficiary designations. You should never have your child listed directly as a beneficiary on anything. And you need to let other adults in your family, maybe your parents or your aunts and uncles or anyone who might want to leave money to help your child, because they love him and they want to see him thrive and succeed and have money in the future. That money needs to be left not to Evan Morris, but to the Special Needs Trust for the benefit of Evan Morris. Never leave money to them or it will mess up their SSI benefits and their other benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, all of that stuff. Now, I just got the question in the chat box, when can you start to apply for SSI? So for most people, if your child is not 18 yet, they will not qualify to receive SSI because they will look at the parent's income and assets. And if you're single, you can't have more than $2,000 to your name. If you're married, it becomes $3,000. I think that's ridiculous because who can survive on $2,000 or $3,000? That's ridiculous, but that's the current rule. So when your child turns 18, they do not look at the parent's income or assets anymore. They look at the child's income. And I'll throw this in here, that child support, if your child is getting child support beyond the age of 18, they count that as your child's income. So that could really affect your benefits. You need to have child support redirected into a first-party special needs trust if they're beyond 18 and still getting child support. So anyway, when your child turns 18, you make sure that they do not have more than $2,000 in their name, and then you apply for SSI benefits, and they should be able to get that $841 a month. Okay, so let's see, I skipped down to child support. Start touring residential living facilities early. They can have wait lists. And if you finally start touring them and you're ready for your child to move out to a residential facility next year, and you're just starting to tour them and you start to find that they have restrictions on who they can take, and they have different varying pricing and different ways that you can pay for them. Some will take waivers and some are direct pay only. And then you find out that you found the perfect one. They will take your child. They are affordable for your family. Everyone looks like they're having a great time there. And then you find out that the waiting list is really long. So you need to start touring residential facilities and researching them early. Again, guardianship and alternatives to guardianship. You can start the guardianship process when you are within 6 months of your child's 18th birthday, and you want to talk to an attorney about that. One thing I want to say really quick here, because I know I'm running out of time. I'm wrapping up, so if you have questions, get them in the chat box while I finish blabbing. But one thing I want you to think about, your neurotypical children who maybe have just turned 18, who are still your babies, like my 21-year-old who I mentioned, he's in Chicago. I have a power of attorney and a healthcare power of attorney on him because if something happens to him, because he's an adult, there is no requirement that the hospital or the school call me and let me know that something has happened to my child. So not only did I make him put my phone number on his refrigerator so that his roommates know how to reach me, but also I have the POA and the healthcare power of attorney to make sure that I have a legal document saying that the hospitals and the school can talk to me as well. And the FERPA document as well for schools. So if we have an ABLE account, can that money be used towards guardianship expenses? So you have to pay to get guardianship set up through an attorney, hopefully one that is focused on special needs and knows what they're doing, and we can refer you to one. Can you use money from the ABLE account to pay for that? We always say that it can be used for anything that would help better the lives of an individual with special needs. and that you can use it for computers and cars and transportation and expenses to help them work. But I don't know, because in my mind, I'm thinking that guardianship expenses would be the parent's expense and not the child's expense. And so therefore you wouldn't be able to use it for that. But it's something that I would want you to check into with the attorney. If you're getting guardianship and you're talking to the attorney about that, ask them, hey, can we pay for this with our ABLE account? Or when you set up the ABLE account, ask them exactly what it can be used to pay for. And I'll try to educate myself on that so that the next time I do this webinar, I'll be able to come up with an answer for you, I hope. So there's lots of good stuff going on in the chat box. Somebody put a book in there. Thank you, Michael, for that great resource. Feel free to check that out. Okay, so 2 more slides, I think, is all I have. Here's our team. Allison and Jeff are the owners of the company. They live outside of Houston. They're a married couple with 4 kids, and 2 of them have special needs. So we really have a background in this, and our heart is in this. It's not just a whim. The other 2, that's myself, my glamour shot, and my husband. We have two kids. They're 18 and 21. And then there's Meredith, who helps set up all of the webinars that we do and the marketing. Some of our credentials are listed here. We are members of the Academy of Special Needs Planners, and we are National Social Security Advisors. And Allison is a member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is, a financial professional association that just shows that she does a lot of great work. And I'm going to put it to the last slide and keep it here while I answer any other questions that are popping up. This is how you get in touch with us. If you use this QR code, it will take you directly to our scheduling system. You could set up a chat with us. They're always free. Your initial chat, what we're going to do on that meeting is first and foremost, answer whatever questions we can for you immediately so that we can put your mind to rest and help ease your fears. Then we're going to learn about you and your family and your child's situation. And then we'll tell you how we work, and then see if we'll be a good fit to work together and go into one of our planning options from there. And if not, we've done the most important part, which is answer your questions. If you're not a QR code type of person, you can use the phone. You can call us. The phone number is there, or email us. Also, please like and follow us on Facebook and check out our YouTube channel. That's where all of these webinars live. They all get recorded and put over to the YouTube channel. So I see some great stuff. Sarah says that yes, she used her ABLE account to pay for guardianship. So that's awesome news. And I'm really glad that I know that answer now, because I was feeling a bit dumb on that one. Bonnie's got more events coming up, more awesome things our Medicaid waivers, SSI, and providing benefits, preserving benefits topic is another great topic. Thank you, Bonnie, for putting that up there.
Yeah, that'll be our next webinar with Consolidated Planning, October 11th, the same time, noon for everybody but El Paso, because El Paso is at 11 a.m. We have a presentation on special needs planning, Medicaid waivers, SSI eligibility, and preserving benefits. So all of you who are asking questions, great questions. You can definitely register to attend, and we're going to have a lot of answers.
Fantastic. Yeah. Our webinars are always free and always packed with tons of great information. Like I said, that first consult is always free. We are there to chat with you and answer whatever questions we can and help you as much as we can. And again, thank you all so much for being here and listening to me blather on for an hour. I hope that it was helpful and that you were able to pick up some good tips and tricks and guidance from our talk today. Bonnie, we love you and your group. Like I said, your energy is just fantastic. So thank you for having us today and sharing us with your families.
Thank you so much, Miss Michelle. We definitely appreciate you and your time. And everyone, remember that you'll be receiving an email from Consolidated Planning Group with the link to the recording. And you will be receiving an email from me tomorrow with a link to obtain your certificate of attendance, okay? Thank you all for joining us. Have an amazing rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you next month. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.